won't be offended by the things that are said. Playing devil's advocate, and no one here to judge you. Express your true thoughts, you will swear out to love you. Everybody's listening, nobody's tripping. This life's too crazy, everybody's flipping. This life's so crazy, run and tell your friends. You on the right side, there's no need to pretend. This an open forum, never done before. This a future, listen, this is a no cousins, speak to learn something, no bugging. No extra charge to switch for be buzzing. We don't really care if you're right or you're wrong. Just tune into Miss Kiki, whichever time it's on.
Hey, Miss Kiki, it's time to play. It's time to play. Devil's advocate, you say. Hey, Miss Kiki, it's PDA. It's time to play. Devil's advocate.
And we go a little something like this. Hit it!
At some point, you will be offended by something said on this show. But playing devil's advocate is meant to be a forum for open, honest, and more importantly, judgment-free dialogue. The opinions expressed here may not necessarily be those of the host or of the show in general, but we're willing to have the uncomfortable conversations so that we can heal and find solutions for our listeners and quite possibly even ourselves. Enjoy the show.
Good evening, everybody, and welcome to Playing Devil's Advocate. I am your host, Miss Kiki, the consummate provocateur, and we are here each and every Wednesday night. I would say at 7 p.m. Pacific, 9 p.m. Central, and 10 p.m. to the East Coast, but as you can see, we are here in our new time at 11 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 10 o'clock Central, and 8 o'clock to you guys on the East Coast. This is the new year. It's time to shake things up. I'm not going to spend a whole lot of time talking to y'all, but we are an interactive show, so chat right on away in our interactive chat room since you're watching us. If not, you want to post a tweet, you can at PDA_Miss Kiki, PDA_MSKIKI, or you can post our Facebook wall at facebook.com/Playing Devil's Advocate. You can also go to my website, KiKiRichardson.com. There you'll be able to purchase a copy of this book, The Other Woman Code of Conduct, What Every Other Woman Should Know, and Men Too. Trust me, it's well worth your $9.99. That's the electronic version, but if you want the actual physical book, it's gonna cost you more, but that's a whole nother story. We got a whole lot to do in a little bit amount of time, so I'm gonna go ahead and introduce my cast of characters that ride shotgun with me each and every week. First up, she hails from my hometown, the Windy City. You know her, you love her. You might want to punch her from time to time or stick something phallic shaped in her mouth. She is my homegirl, none other than Sporty, Spunky Asia. What?
Something phallic in my mouth?
I said something phallic shaped.
Wow.
It could be a banana. It could be a cucumber. It could be a popsicle. It could be a whole bunch of things.
Interesting.
Yeah. Muy interesante. Yes. Muy interesante. Next up, he also hails from my hometown, but as of late, he's been holding down the Mandalay Bay almost every single week, kissing babies, signing autographs, and taking selfies. Ladies and gentlemen, he is the intermittent fast king of the world, motivational speaker, Chan baby daddy, Uncle. Well, actually, he's the Uncle Rob. The Uncle Rob Carter. Hey.
What's up? Yeah, Uncle Rob is good. It don't have to be the Uncle Rob.
Well, you're the only Uncle Rob I know about. But anyway, all right, tonight's show is Who Moved My Cheese, right? And for those of you guys who do not know about what this book is about, I recommended this to my sister, I think almost 15 years ago. And the one thing that we know in life, the only thing that is constant is change. And nobody in this life is immune to change. So much so that, like I said at the beginning, this show has changed. You've seen different faces, right? You've seen all kinds of stuff. And guess what? Tonight we're on at a different time, which has been a change because somebody moved my damn cheese, which means I had, to come here because I had to get my cheese. So, so that's why You know what I mean? They moved the cheese. I had to go get that shit, right? But what we did was we challenged one another to read the book Who Moved My Cheese. You know, it's the beginning of the year. Everybody made all these resolutions and shit. Who are you smiling at, Sporty?
You, because you cracking me up.
You taking selfies of yourself while we on the air?
Oh yeah, I did take a selfie of myself, but you are making me laugh.
So selfish that you taking selfies of yourself while we on the air. But anyway, I was talking about change, right? So it's the beginning of the year.
Yeah.
Everybody's got resolutions and stuff, and they're like, all these changes they're going to make or whatever. But change is hard, right? And we all know that because, you know, we all have these moments in our, these turning points. They're talking about how you doing, Brother Rob. What is he selling, bean pies? Oh, the glasses.
Why you gotta hate, man?
I'm not. I actually like your glasses. I was going to say something, but whatever. When they said the Brother Rob, it just reminded me of Malcolm X. But anyway, I need you to change your sensitivity level. How about that? So
He not being emotional, is he?
Oh, he's being emotional. Yeah, he is. In this book, they have a couple of characters. Him, Haw, Sniff, and Scurry, right? And they all serve different purposes. Like Sniff represents, you know, the person who sniffs out the shit before it happens, right? And then you got Scurry, who's just like, they jump right on into action. And then you got him, who is, you know, kind of more of a rational thinker. And then you have Haw, right? Who's the one who's just like, fuck that, why? You know, they're very resistant to change. Now, what I know about human beings and the human condition is that we all been one of those at one or more times in our lives. Sometimes, you know, at different points, we transition into certain ones. Like, you know, like Chan is like Ha when it comes to relationships. She's like, fuck that, why I gotta change, right? Let's leave this shit the way it is. Don't be fucking with shit, right? And that, but you know, I'm resistant to change in a lot of ways too, though, because I'm spoiled and I kind of want things my way. Donald, you can get it anywhere. They sell Who Moved My Cheese anywhere. It's a really good book. It's a short story about him and Haw, which are two little people, and then Sniff and Scurry, who are two little mice, and they're in a maze, and they are on a quest to find cheese. Now, in this quest to find cheese, they're forced with certain challenges, you know, and it caused, for some people, a moment of introspection. For some people, it caused a moment of let's jump right on into action to get this shit fixed. Somebody was like, I saw this shit coming. And then somebody was like, what the fuck? I'm pissed. Right? Mm-hmm. So, you know, all of that, because that all happens in our lives. I want to ask you guys, Rob and then Sporty, which one of these characters at this point in your life do you think mirror who you are the most?
Well, I'm the mouse. I'm one of the mice with the Haw, or is it him? I mean, because at the end of the story, it was him, right? Not Haw. It was him who was on point. Right. So I'm definitely him, but it doesn't take me that amount of time to resist. I mean, you know, to hold on to change. I'm like the mice. When shit go bad, I'm ready to make sure, because I got too much counting on, you know, depending on me. Mm-hmm. So I usually jump at change, and I change with it, you know. But I do a lot of foreseeing now. I didn't always do that. I was reactive. Now I'm more proactive at this point. So
right now, you would say you're a blend of Sniff and Haw? I mean, and him?
And him, correct.
Him, okay.
Yeah.
All right. Sporty, who do you say you're a blend between? Or just one?
Now a Scurry him.
When did you turn into Scurry?
Well, because every day I have to literally go. I have to just do stuff. I mean, it's not like I don't get an opportunity to sit and ponder and wait and think, should I, could I, would I? You know, I don't get to do that. I don't have that opportunity. Mm-hmm. I feel like I have the choice to linger. I have to jump into action or it's not going to get done.
Okay. Okay. You know what? I think depending, and if I'm being completely honest, depending on what it is, I am susceptible to be one of each of those characters, depending on what it is in this given time in my life. You know, I know when I was younger, I was scurry all day long. It was like, boom, I don't give a hell. Rules didn't apply to me. You know, it was like when somebody was like, oh, you can't do, you know what I mean? It was just like, whatever. I didn't even think about it. I just went and did it. Right. The older I've gotten, I think about shit more. You know what I mean? It's kind of like, okay, now if I do that, I'm a plan or whatever. So I can see the shit coming a mile, you know, a lot of times a mile away. But in a lot of ways, I'm very stuck in my ways. You know, thus the phrase, if everybody just agreed with me, life will be so much simpler. But I'm also a very rational person too. I'm a rational thinker. It's like, okay, how did I get here? Why? And I was just having this conversation with Chan yesterday about, you know, making some decisions and some changes and putting some things in perspective and prioritizing some things and, you know, just kind of sitting up and looking and saying, okay, you know, I don't know if y'all saw my post the other day. It's like, have you ever had that feeling where you don't know what the hell you're feeling?
No, I didn't see that one.
Right. I was having one of those days, which caused me to have to be in introspective mode. And as a coach, you know, we have to be our own first client. So some of the principles.
Well, you know,
I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
No,
I was just going to say, you know, when you talk about, you know, someone asked me about the same question you did. Well, which one are you? You know, and they look at it as a negative, positive, depending on which one you pick. You know, and my whole viewpoint about it was simply, you know, at some point in time, you have to be, as far as I'm concerned, I won't say you know, you're going to be one of those, because sometimes you need to stand still and look at what's going on around you. Sometimes you need to just move or the opportunity will go away. Sometimes, you know, you need to go out, whether you're scared or not, you still need to go ahead and face it and do it.
Right.
You know, and sometimes you're going to be right where you are because, you know, that's the place you need to be. So I don't see it as a bad thing. I just see it as pick the right opportunity to be whichever one you're going to be.
Well, here's the thing. A lot of times we don't end up picking. What do you think, Rob? I don't think we end up picking who we're going to be.
Right. Yeah, that's the key. No. We don't want to take the story and its content out of context, because you don't get to pick. You are who you are at that time.
Mm-hmm.
Well, yeah.
I can identify with everybody except Ha for the most part, because I don't know that I was ever that rigid or, and I hate to say this to you, Ha, but that's stupid, you know, not to recognize what was really happening and just sit there and say, you know, this shit's finna happen because I can't move. It was supposed to be this way. It's been this way so long and it's supposed to stay. I don't know that I've ever been that guy, but.
No, but Ha also, though, Rob, Ha also was very arrogant and very felt like, you know, entitled to some stuff. And there was a time when you were extremely arrogant and was like,
well,
you know,
that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. At one point, you can identify with each one of them. Cause I told Sporty in the pre-talk that I could identify with to that degree that, you know, it had to be a certain way, but I was never so rigid to change. I was never rigid to change. There was some arrogance, like when they got all the cheese and they just assumed that the abundance would always be there.
Right.
When it dwindles down, it was never part of my character. I couldn't identify with, you know, that.
I get it. I see the cheese. I'm watching the cheese. I'm like,
yeah, it's going away, you know. Yeah, exactly. We need to do something. But you know, for the people who haven't read the book, you know, we need to make sure that we touch on what we're talking about with these people when we identify with who they're talking about. So this guy, like you said, was arrogant and he was entitled. He felt like, you know, that cheese was supposed to be there.
Yeah.
Nobody can move my shit. I'm staying here because they bringing it back.
Every day I come here, it's gonna be here, and it better be here. And if it ain't here, it's somebody's fault. Why are they doing this to me? Not you did this to yourself, or you allowed it to happen. And that's something, the pitfall that a lot of us fall into. We don't even realize we're fucking Haas. We don't remember. We don't realize that we're him.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
One of the things that I noticed when I moved for 6 weeks and I lived in Mexico, that's when I really found out how freaking entitled Americans were, and it was embarrassing. You know what I mean? It was like we felt like the whole world owes us something, and it's inane nonsense. But if we talk about him is the one who took the longest journey.
Yeah.
He's the one that actually went on a self journey. He did the work, right? He, you know, and then you got Scurry, who was just like, pew, let's go. And, you know, I think a lot of times being smart can actually hinder you. You know, us as human beings being so highly evolved, we complicate shit that don't really need to be complicated.
And that's the point. And that's the initial point, right, when the cheese was moved, because the mice both, bam, they done, they gone. You know what I'm saying? Scurry's out and is his boys right behind them because they doing what they got to do to find this damn cheese. Instinctively, they know they got to keep moving till they find cheese. So they were able to find cheese a whole lot sooner, a whole lot quicker because of that ignorance. You know what I'm saying? Because of that, you just went straight on instinct. Now, because him actually went through the process, and I identify with him most because I went through all these processes of finding my cheese when it moved over and over and over again, just like him. When now he can apply some of what they do, but he also applies going out. Now he's going out because he realized, you know, I should have seen that shit, because that cheese was dwindling down. It was even tasting bad. Shit was stale. You know what I'm saying? I should have been out while we were just taking this for granted, looking for more cheese while I had something. You see what I'm saying? That's what he started doing at the end.
Right.
Versus the mice won't do that though, because they may not have that same intellect to imply. You know what I'm saying?
I don't even think they would have. Yeah, right. They wouldn't have, because it's just like about them. It's about survival. It's not about staying in that moment. It's like, well, let me get what I need to get, and whatever I need to do to go get that, then that's what I'm gonna do to get it. And it's kind of like autopilot to them. And I want to bring up some of the principles, because we talk about what. Go ahead. We don't have a lot of time, Cordy. Go ahead.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. Well, all I was going to say is two things. One is I also noticed that in, you know, revisiting the story, you know, you can see the different characters in yourself and the other people that are around you. You know, it's like you can see, like I can see, for instance, Sniff in you. Like I know I'll say, you'll see the rocks before you see the big pebble fall, but you'll say something like, I know you see that shit over there. What's going on over there, you know, right there, you know. Or like when Rob just said, you know, how you have to look for your cheese over and over again, you know, it's like revisiting today. I was like, oh, I see why I didn't do that, because I'm scared to go over there and do that right there, but I still need to go ahead and do it. I don't care if I'm scared or not. So, you know, it's like you have your little aha moments with each one on a continuous basis if you continue to do the work.
That's if you're him, right? That's if you're him. Because even when him went back, there was a point in the story where him went back to try to save Ha, or to help bring Ha back out, and Ha was just not feeling it. And you know that there are some people, they constantly stay on the treadmill of bullshit, right? You know, people who's always got drama in their life, or nothing ain't ever going right. If it's like, if it can go wrong, it will go wrong with them, because clearly they're not ready to move out of that space that is attracting negative shit to them. You know what I mean? It's kind of like it's kind of like the abused woman when she, you know, everybody's like, everybody else can see, bitch, you need to get the hell out of there. He gonna kill you, right? But that's the normal that she knows versus going out starting all over again. And it's kind of one of those things. I know how to deal with this. I don't know how to deal with this, so I'd rather fuck with this shit than this shit, right? Which on some level seems fucking insane. But our subconscious has to be right. If her somewhere on her level, if her subconscious told her that she didn't deserve better, she's going to constantly put herself in positions to not get better, right? So, but that's a whole nother conversation for another show. But let's talk about some of the concepts that came up. That him, because him was so self-aware, right? And that's who we all, I think, ultimately should aspire to be, like him. He was so self-aware. He even knew when he was bullshitting himself, right? And so he took the moment to put the writing on the wall to help anybody who came behind him, because not only did he see the benefit in it for himself. He said, I'm not going to be selfish about it. I want somebody else to not have to go through the shit that I went through. Right? So here's some of the lessons that he wrote on the wall. If you do not change, you can become extinct. So, you know, you could take that in a lot of ways, right? You know, if you don't, when things change and you should change and you don't adapt accordingly, you can get left behind. You know, there are a lot of people, you know, who are in the workforce or have worked a certain job their entire life and find themselves displaced at work now, and they're out here in the workforce looking for a job, but they never bothered to keep up with the technology that was happening around them. And they may have a PhD, but if you don't know shit about technology, it don't matter. You're not getting that job.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
You cannot use a computer if you can, you know what I mean? So you can become extinct. You're a relic of the past if you refuse to change and adapt to what's going on around you. Ever find yourself in that situation where you didn't adapt and found out and the shit was just going on around you and you're like, what the hell?
I've never been in that situation, but it does exist. As she's going through these rules, I just want the people that haven't read the book to understand that this cheese is not about cheese. It's a metaphor for anything that you're after, any situation you could be in. So that's what all of these characters represent. They represent an emotional state or actually a state of mind and an approach to whatever it is you're after, whether that be, you know, your cheese could be success, your cheese could be, you know, a new job or whatever. And so apply these rules to your situation. Go ahead, Key.
And the other thing too, though, Rob, is this, it just confirms to me, like when me doing some of my self-work and when I'm coaching clients, and one of the things that I say to people is that you can't compartmentalize your life and think that they all work separately. They all work together.
Mm-hmm.
And so those 4 parts, the sum of those 4 parts, ham, haw, sniff, and scurry, that's the human condition. You know what I mean? That's the representation of the human condition. And when any of those parts aren't doing their part, that can, you know, bad things can happen. And so I think that there was so much to glean from it. I read it 15 years ago and I got so much out of it then, and I still get just as much from it now because I'm at a different turning point in my life. You know, you in your 20s and you read something is very different from reading it in your 40s.
Yeah.
Right.
You know, perspective is a lot different at that point. Another one of the things that him wrote on the wall, and I know y'all think we're saying him like him downstairs, but no, him, him as in him and ha, like him, right? So him wrote, what would you do if you were not afraid? Like, how much does fear stop you from doing shit, taking risk, starting that business, quitting that damn job, leaving that no good mofo, not staying with him for the kids, or her for the kids, right? Whatever the case, how many times has fear stopped you?
You know, it's ironic. I was telling Sporty how some of these things match up with some of those Q-tips I was doing. I don't think it posted yet, but it's already scheduled. But I did this one about fear. And one of the coolest things about fear, though, once you get over it, is fear is like that enemy you don't fight back. You know, because once you face a fear, that motherfucker just crawls up and goes away. So don't let fear stop you. You gotta face your fears, because if you don't overcome your fears, you can't get to the next step. You can't get to what's coming to you. You know what I'm saying? Right. And that is definitely something you just need to reiterate every day. You know what I'm saying? What would you do if you weren't scared? And just act on that. That's what he did.
And put a caveat to that too, though, Rob. What I find too is don't let other people's fear stop you.
Oh, yeah, that should rub off of you in a minute.
Yeah, because people will tell you what you can and can't do, what's impossible. Nobody's ever done that. They'll impose their shit on you, and you start buying into the bullshit. Well, and now their fear became yours. Huh?
Yeah. Peer pressure is a motherfucker. You're going to be the only one, because now he's saying it and somebody else probably reinforcing it. And you the only one got to step out here on your own lonesome.
Just like him did, because him knew that he needed to do something, but he let Ha talk him out of it for a minute.
Right.
He let that fear, pump up that fear in him, and then he sat stagnant for a while, but he woke up eventually, and now is the time for us to all wake up, to get that awakening. Fear is, fear is not your friend, and fear is actually an illusion. It's shit that you make up in your head. Because one of the other things that he wrote on the wall is when you move beyond fear, you feel free.
Mm-hmm. It is a freedom. When you ain't
It
scared.
is liberating. When I got ready to move to California, one of the things Bernie told me was like, don't tell nobody what you're going to do. Just do it. Right. And once I had already made all my plans and everybody was like, people like, you gonna leave your mama? You gonna leave everybody you know? You going to a place you don't know nobody? Blah, 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 blah. They're trying to put all of that fear. But for me, it was like, I relished in that unknown. I felt free to basically roam about the cabin.
It's living.
Because I didn't feel like anything could stop. Huh?
It's living. That's the experience in life. You don't want to keep doing the same shit over and over. No exposure, no growth. That's what life's about. Opening new doors and just seeing what happens and going for it. So, yeah. But he got a few more things. What else he write?
He says, if you smell the cheese off, you need to smell the cheese often so you know when it's getting old. Rob made a reference to that earlier when he was talking about how the dude even noticed, the cheese has got a little molds on it. It's stale. It's this, that, and the other. But what we need to do in ourselves is that we need to take a moment to monitor our change. Good changes and bad changes. Look where you started. Look where you are. Look where you headed and how close you are to getting to that destination. And look at the pitfalls that you ran into. If you're smelling that cheese often, when something's amiss. My specialty is relationships. Your partner, if you've taken the time to get to know your partner, when something changes or shifts, you recognize it because you've been smelling the cheese.
Mm-hmm.
So it's important that you smell the cheese so that something's changed. And when it starts to change, you need to be changing too.
Yeah, and that's the same. If you got a small business or you doing something and you see that, your profits are down or customers are, shit ain't moving the way it's supposed to be. It's going in a different direction than you wanted to be, but it was all right at first. But now things are changing. You need to that's smelling that cheese often. That's noticing before your cheese get moved and you close shop because you out of business. You know what I'm saying? You need to watch all the indicators.
They was trying to move my cheese to Mexico.
Well, shit changes more now. It changes quicker now than ever.
Ever. That was like, and if you don't pay attention to the signs, there are signs on the wall. Just like, the metaphor of, him writing these things on the wall. It's the writing on the wall. You have to pay attention to the writing on the wall, literally and figuratively in some cases, and I love the fact that as simplistic as this story is, and simplistic in its ideas, it makes so much sense, right? This one, for example, the quicker you let go of old cheese, the sooner you find new cheese. Don't hold on to shit in your life. Like you said, your business is failing and you feeling disappointed, but you rather sit there in it. It's the concept of the sand. You can get more sand in your hand if you hold your hand open than you do if you're trying to squeeze it, because all that shit starts sliding through your fingers. Next thing you know, you ain't got nothing but a little bit of sand in your hand. So you have to learn to let go of that cheese. Let go of that shit. Don't hold on to it. Let go of that old shit.
Yeah,
that old way of thinking.
Especially y'all women. Let go of them old ass, funky cheese smelling ass motherfucking foods you with that ain't doing right. If you got one, move on to your new cheese. Get some good cheese, some good cheddar. Get rid of what's the stinky ones. I don't know, one of the moldable ones. Them cheeses. Some of them stink. Get rid of that one and get you some fresh, good cheese.
Here's something that the law of attraction is. Cordy, I want to get your thoughts on this because you've been kind of quiet. Me and Rob been off to the races. It's talking about, the law of attraction, right? And the law of attraction says that, you're supposed to see shit before it happens. So, you basically bring it into your reality. And one of the things that him wrote on the wall was imagining myself enjoying new cheese even before I found it, led me to it. So what do you think about that whole dreaming and, creating a vision and all of that? and changing the way you the picture?
Well, what I think about it is, to me, it's simple. You know, every time I create something in my mind and I see it, you know, it eventually comes to pass the way I see it and then some.
Mm-hmm.
You know, one of the things that made me really, really happy this year is when I looked at, you know, every year I look at my little vision board that I do. And I looked at it and I noticed that on this vision board that at least 50% of the things that I have on there have actually, for me, have actually come to pass. So now that I get to grow it and see a bigger vision and do something different, you know, it actually works to see your plan, you know, come, see it actually like, yeah, that's what I saw. That's what's happening. So I absolutely get it about, you know, have the vision, you know, write the vision, make it plain. It's right there. You know, you can do that and you can go get it. If you can see it, you can go do it. I really believe that. And I've actually seen that happen. So it works for me.
Yeah, I mean, if you can see it happening, why can't it happen? Somebody saw damn light bulbs. So you know what I'm saying? So it's like, whatever it is that you see, somebody had to think of it first. Somebody had, you know what I mean? So yeah, definitely. Rob, did you want to comment on that before I move to the next?
Yeah, I mean, I'm just going to take it to another level. Basically, you know, the saying is, I mean, the actuality is what you focus on most is what's going to happen, is what you're going to make happen. So if it's always in front of your face and you focusing on that, all of your energy is just going to take you in that direction. It just can't do anything else. And that's really the concept. Just stay focused on the shit you want, you know, and the shit that you after, and it'll manifest. That's all.
That's what, you know, you find what it is, and everything that you do, every word you say, everything should be leading you in that direction. Here's the other one of the other concepts that came up, and it's safer to search in a maze than to remain in a cheeseless situation. So basically, what that means is that you got to keep moving. You got to keep searching. You got to keep moving around looking for that cheese, whatever it is, instead of sitting around on your ass thinking about what you don't have. You know what I mean? Like, I don't have enough money to do this. I don't have this. I don't have that. Yeah, sitting there talking about you don't have it, it's not going to get it. It's not going to magically appear because you're talking about you don't have it.
Can I change it just a little bit and take the...
That's Spencer Johnson. He's the one who wrote it.
Well, I'm gonna take liberty anyway, but I'm gonna take the safer out and just put in there that it's more opportunities out there in the maze. There's more shit that can happen. There's more things that you can actually do out there than you can sitting your ass in one spot. Same thing. If you look at it and take the fear out of it and say, look, even if I don't get where I want to be, there's more places to go out there. There's more shit to do and accomplish out there than it is right here in this own little bubble of being, you know, being afraid of just staying in my comfort zone. So when you look at it like that, it makes it, it's just logical. It's just logical to go out and search for what you want.
Yeah, but that's painful to do. It's fear can be paralyzing, you know, to a lot of people.
Yeah.
And I'll oversimplify it, y'all. I joke about it. When I got to pass gas, it's more room out than in. Same thing. Don't be trying to hold the fart in. Let it go. Same thing with your life. Don't try to hold yourself in. Let it go. Let it out. Let it out, right? This is more room out. Trust me, it's a whole lot. I know. Whatever. I don't give a hell what you say. Or it could be. I don't hold them.
Oh, it doesn't matter. You so on the pre-conversation we had when you weren't here more than you know, sweetheart.
Okay. Yeah. So here's one of my favorites. Old beliefs don't lead you to new cheese. And the reason why it's one of my favorites is because it forces you to challenge your belief system, which is what I do all the time. That's what I love to do with people. That's one of the reasons why we have this show and been doing this show for so long. It is to make people think, why do you believe what you believe? And has that belief system benefited you in the best possible way? Has it cultivated you to be the best version of you? And if it doesn't, or you don't know why, only because you were spouting back what somebody else told you, then you're living somebody else's life, not your own. You know what I mean? You're just existing. You're a puppet. So for me, holding on to that old thought that if I behave this way in this situation, shit somehow is gonna be different. No. The only thing that's gonna change is the damn date, right? The only thing that's gonna change is maybe the faces of the motherfuckers you dealing with, you know. But the reality is that the scenario is still gonna propose the same types of difficulty and challenges that it would if you didn't change your thinking. So that's one of my favorite ones of the writing on the wall. Why do you believe that? And is it helping you move forward? Is this fear helping me stay? You know.
But it also challenges you to move through your fear too, because if you're changing your thinking, you know, it gives you the opportunity to see that there are reasons why you shouldn't be afraid to take those steps, that goal that you eventually want to get to. So that makes it a really profound way to, you know, press on through.
You know, it's interesting that you said that, Sporty, because it brings up the next principle in terms of when you see that you can find and enjoy new cheese, you'll change course. Once you realize that when you step outside of that fear, when you get yourself out of your own way and you step out there, you like, oh, this shit's not as bad as I thought, right? And then you start seeing some of the other benefits from being out there. You might find that what you thought you were looking for ain't what you really wanted any goddamn way. Right. But that's all you knew because you stayed in the little fear bubble. Yeah, you stayed chained to the thing called sane.
Yeah, that's probably the most enlightening of all of the writings on the wall is once you realize that you can find new shit, finding new shit becomes cool. It becomes a driving force after that. And that's probably one of the most enlightening things that a person can experience. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, you just got to get past this fear. I ain't going to keep pondering on the same shit, but I mean, just imagine yourself experiencing that and feeling that and going through that emotion. That's a great thing. So, yeah, that's probably, I don't know if that's my favorite, but that's definitely the most enlightening one of all.
Yeah, definitely
new shit.
Significant.
Ever find money in your pocket and you excited about finding money? Mm-hmm. Now you start going through all your goddamn pockets on everything because
you know it's possible.
Exactly. So it's the same thing. It's like it's the same. It's the same. Yeah, I know we're oversimplifying something that's really simple, but sometimes people just are so resistant to change. You know, change is painful. You know, one of the things about the subconscious mind and the way that it operates is that the subconscious mind will accept what it knows as pleasure and things that it doesn't know as pain. Even if the thing that it doesn't know, or the thing that it does know is actually painful.
Yeah.
So that's a mind fuck in and of itself. So you now have to recondition your thought process that you would rather stay in a hurtful, painful situation because you know it versus thinking this is going to be painful, but you don't even know. You know, have you ever gone to get a shot and you all tense and you like, and then they give it to you like, let me know when you're done. They're like, child, I've been done. You like, oh. It's not that bad.
That's it.
Nothing is that bad.
Yourself, huh? I'm sorry.
Nothing is that bad. If you look back, and everybody has to admit this, when you look back at something that you worried about, you stressed out about, whatever, nothing was as bad as you thought it was going to be. Once it's over, you look back, nothing was as bad as you thought it was going to be. It never is, and it never will be.
And let's just by chance somebody's saying, well, I remember this one time. Guess what? You made it out. Because if it was as bad as you thought it was, you wouldn't have made it through, out,
wouldn't have got through,
up from under, any of that shit. So it clearly, that in and of itself, the worst case scenario is you don't make it out of it.
Right, you still stuck where you at.
With your, huh?
You still stuck or you die.
Yep, you stuck or you die.
Stuck, you might as well be dead anyway. Being stuck and being dead is the same fucking thing.
It's the same thing, because when you stuck and you living, you're just existing. You waiting to die, basically. You just biding your time. But you need to be out here enjoying all the shit. Like I say all the time, Rob and Sporty, this is not a dress rehearsal. This is a live show. You don't get no takes, no do-overs, no none of that shit. This is it. Action. From the time the doctor smack you on your ass. Action.
Yep, that's your story.
You better get into
keep
action.
going.
Yeah. Noticing small changes early help you to adapt to the bigger changes that are to come. I mean,
and that's what I always say about noticing. You always notice those small pebbles before the big one falls. If you're paying attention to what's going on, you'll see what's happening. If you don't, and it happens, and when you look back, you'll be like, oh, okay, that did happen. Oh, I should have noticed that this, you always talk about hindsight is 2020 and, what you should have seen, and before, your warning signs to something happening, whether it's good or bad. If that's the way you want to look at it, you still know there's always something precluding what's going to happen. There's always something there.
Yeah. And a lot of times
have to be focused enough to see it.
We need to stop for a minute and figure out the why, like why we aren't seeing it, right? Mm-hmm. What is that thing that's keeping us from seeing what's right in front of our eyes? Because once we discover what the why is, we can eliminate the fear. We can eliminate, the fucked up belief system. We can eliminate a whole lot of shit because we know what the why is. It's like, okay, and knowing that why. What somebody once said to me, if your why ain't strong enough, it's not something you need to be doing. If it's, so you need to determine what your why is and then figure out the what and the hows and all those other shit. Like how I'm gonna do that. Now, how you gonna do what? You don't even know what it is. So figure out what it is. And why you want to do it. Figure out why it is and what you want to do. So here's the last one. Because y'all already talked about the nothing is ever as bad as you imagine, right? Here's the other one was move with the cheese. And that's real simple. Life moves on, so should you. Why stay stuck in old shit when there's so much new shit out there? Now, I don't want y'all to take that the wrong way and think you need to go break up with everybody or stop being friends with people you've been friends with. However, a lot of people's friendships don't last because they don't respect the change in the other people. People will say, you changed, ever since, you hang out with this person, you do this, you that, you changed. Yeah, nigga, I had to. I'm growing. I'm supposed to change. I'm supposed to stay same forever.
Yeah.
Now the person who makes
in this same funky ass neighborhood forever.
Thank you.
I gotta change to get out. If I do the same shit, I'm gonna be right here. You need to change too. I'm with it.
Right. The person who tries to make you feel like you stupid or something wrong with you, or or make you feel less than because you've changed, grown, and evolved and moved past the space that they're in. They're that Hall. They're Hall. Because Hall kept pulling you down. Hall kept pulling him back in. Every chance he got to try to get him, because misery loves company. He wanted somebody to stew in that old moldy ass little crumbs they had left. So much so that he went through the extremes of drilling holes in a wall, thinking it was behind the wall. You put that much energy in going to get the drill and shit, bringing it over here, drilling it in the wall, when you could have just gone and looked for some more goddamn cheese.
Then that same fool
being a hater
attitude, it tries to pull you down and all that. So him comes back after finding some little cheese. He ain't found all the cheese yet. He ain't come up on the gold mine, but he come back with some cheese. He pocket some cheese for his boy. He come back, boy, won't be all stuff. Nah, I don't want your fucking cheese. You know what I'm saying?
You rather starve to death because you so damn stupid.
You know motherfuckers like that too, though, because you come back, you done it. Now they be like, I'm good, though. I'm good. Oh, he ain't good at all. And he ain't pay. Lights is just cold in his crib because the fucking heat ain't on. So I'm good. I'm good. Motherfucker, you is not good.
That's the pride. That's pride. You know,
That's what I'm saying.
Something I think we all should kind of like examine, right? We need to examining our whys, examining, that fear is a fucking illusion, right? And then pride and arrogance, they work against us in so many ways, because Ha could have got the little crumbs that him brought back for him. Him didn't have to pocket no goddamn cheese and share. He could have just been like, let me say this for myself till I find the big
cheese. Yep.
And then I go get. But he was like, no, let me check on my boy.
But look what happened. Look what happens later. And this is, I can tell you this from experience. You go back and you offer cheese up, and but you tell him it's a condition though. He ain't saying, take this cheese, I'm gonna keep bringing you shit. He said, take this cheese and come on, man, come with me. Then see, that's what Ha ain't want that. He ain't want that. If he would have been dropping cheese off, he'd probably went for that shit. But then I experienced the same thing. Now what happens though? After he was further down, he found it and he thought in his head, maybe I should go back and get him. What'd he say? Nah, that's all right. Fuck that.
I wrote this shit on the wall, so if he come out, he can find it too.
He got clues. I left all the clues I can because it's on him. Because he realized that he's got to be able to make his own decision to do that, or else he ain't ever coming. So I left him enough clues on the wall. If he want to come, let him come. Right. But so you do, in a sense, you don't really change as an individual because the concern, the thought was there. But what you do is you realize you can't afford to keep going back and forth for these motherfuckers just trying to pull you down. You can't do it for two reasons. One, because you ain't got time for it. But two, just in case that motherfucker got enough influence to penetrate where you already gone and grab a hold of you. You don't even want to go back there.
Nobody knows how difficult the struggle was for you to go back to get that motherfucker, which would have made you pliable to their bullshit. So, you just, and then the more I'm going backwards, I can't go forward. The ultimate creative being, whoever it is, that entity that created us as human beings, in its infinite wisdom, knew to put eyes in the front of our head so we can go fucking forward. So if I can't keep going back to get motherfuckers that don't want to come forward, now it'd have been different if you'd have said, all right, I'm gonna eat this cheese, I'm gonna come with you, and then somewhere along the way you got scared, or you said, no, just leave me, I'm slowing you down. That's something different. But you don't even want to move. And there's people like, there are people every single day that deal with mofos who don't want to move. Why would you want to be friends with somebody who their mama, their grandmama, their great grandmama, not their children, and everybody been on the welfare system and they okay with it? That's status quo. They don't want to do shit else. They ain't trying to get no job. They ain't trying to do nothing. It's like, that's not something to aspire to be. And if you aspire to be something different, why are you gonna keep going back to somebody who don't want anymore? It's counterproductive.
Yeah, and it's also, just on a human being level, man. It's sad and it's disrespectful though. It's disrespectful to the universe. It's disrespectful to God. It's disrespectful to everybody, because this planet was put here with so much for you not to go see what it's like to ski, see what it's like to fucking scuba dive, see what it's like to ride on a motherfucking yacht, see what it's like to do some other shit that you can't even fathom doing because you stuck in, this one little neighborhood in this one little mindset.
Are you talking about me? You named all shit that I won't do.
I'm just saying. No, I
ain't getting on no goddamn boat. I ain't jet skiing. I ain't snorkeling. I ain't doing none of that shit. I ain't doing it.
You need to do some scuba diving. That's some cool shit down there. It's a whole nother. It's beautiful down there. It's beautiful.
I like scuba diving.
I believe.
Cool shit.
I also believe that humans belong on land, but that's okay.
We do, but that's why you got an oxygen tank with you. They figured it out so we can explore shit. Oxygen tank. You breathing, you good.
Yeah, I'm good on that though. But you know what? I'm weirded out by so much. And you know what? That could be another manifestation of fear. We have to be clear about why we feel certain things. Again, a lot of times we just write things off. It's just like, oh, coincidence. Oh, it weirds me out. I'm not comfortable with that. Why are you not comfortable with that? Well, I don't want to be on no goddamn boat because maybe my cellular memory is telling me that black people in boats ain't supposed to go together. Or maybe I don't want to be on boats because I ain't never really been that thirsty, because if this bitch go down, I can't drink all this water. It's like, but all of that is fear-based.
Correct. It's fear. It's fear.
I never knew that I was afraid of the ocean until I actually went to get certification for scuba diving. I got in there when I was so excited about, getting in there. I got in the water. The first thing that freaked me out was the fish. When the school of fish would just go over my body like, I was in their world. And the fact that they touched me creeped me the hell out. So that was the first thing that freaked me out. And then I looked around and noticed that there was water beneath me, above me, and on both sides of me. And if it was not for the sun, I would not know what. And I'm like, I'm really this small in this big ass ocean of water. Mm-hmm. And until I decided, it's pretty over there. Oh, but look at that. It moves if you touch it, And once I really began to see how beautiful it was, I got past my fears about it. Now, I got to have a full skin suit when I go in there because that's just the way I roll with it. But
it's also,
I got over the fear of it.
But it's also, to a level of respect that you have for your surroundings.
Right. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you understood that, this is something of beauty and you are minor in the grand scheme of this big ass ocean. And that's just like the mindset when you have to think about your fear. That fear that's keeping you from doing, that's the little thing in this big ass world.
But that's the point. That's the beautiful thing about it all. And the disrespectful thing about it all is all of that's there for you to grow. All of that's there. It's there for you to be. Now, Chan is a good example. Can't swim a lick, as far as I know. But we went out and we were in some fucking country, St. Martin, I think, some island we was on. And we did these jet skis and she flipped that motherfucker over in the middle of the ocean. But she was out there, you know what I'm saying? And I can't swim not that great. I can swim, but not in the fucking ocean. I jump off mine and go to save her and shit. And we do this. And we floating out in the motherfucking ocean. But ain't none of us get fucking sea scared. But, it tells you no matter how big or small you is, that's an adventure. That's living still. You know what I'm saying? I tried to swim out to get mine. I realized like a few yards out that was way too far. And I looked and shit down. So I just swam back. And we just decided to just let that motherfucker float away. But it puts you in a position to make smart ass decisions, to realize how human you are, how you fit in the big grand scheme of things. And that helps you humble yourself when necessary. And it lets you know how to find your place in this world and go and do what you got to do.
Sharpen that why.
Yeah. So it's a great thing. I'm about to take my kids to fucking go skiing and snowboarding. They're about to learn that shit. And they 6 and 8. We're about to go up to Mount Charleston next weekend. They do whatever. So you gotta live.
Right. And I think that was, getting back to the book, Who Moved My Cheese? Like you said, it's a metaphor for, change. And change is evident. It's going to happen. And it's not the change that's the big deal. It's how you respond in the face of that change that becomes the big deal.
Mm-hmm.
Right? When I spent that 6 weeks in Guadalajara, I'm like, yeah, these mofos are getting ready to pack up camp. Basically, they're using me to help them pack up camp. Let me play. And that change in and of itself, me deciding to see, 6 weeks in another country is a long time to go somewhere, right? And then to come back and say, I want off that ride. I'm going to put my faith in something else, which has actually changed the dynamic of everything around here. We here an hour later and only on for an hour because my schedule has now changed because I have a new client. You know what I mean? So with that being said, I had to adapt to that change. I could have very easily said, fuck it. You know what I mean? But it's like, okay, I literally ran from doing what I was doing to make sure that I was here on time. I adapted to the change. I saw the changes happening and I got off of that shit and got another one. So it's important. I could have said, what am I supposed to do? And waited and too long and then been like, that's over. You know what I mean? A lot of us stay in situations way too long and we end up getting a violent shove out of the situation. And then we want to cry foul. We want to say somebody did that. They should have gave me a heads up or this, that, and the other. Well, you were so self-involved in your own little world, you didn't recognize anything. So, on top of understanding and respecting and all of those things, we also have to have a level of awareness, self-awareness.
Right.
You know, not being self-involved, but have a level of self-awareness that you understand things about yourself, what you need to change. And that means uncovering the ugly shit that you don't like about yourself.
Mm-hmm.
That may not be likable.
Or at least coming to grips with it and realizing it is what it is. You know what I'm saying? You got to come to grips with it.
You got, and here's the thing though, just because I know I'm an asshole don't mean that I can continue to be an asshole.
And being an asshole, being an asshole technically is not a thing. That's a choice. I mean, you can.
It's not a thing.
You could be sarcastic. You could be whatever, you know. But being an asshole is not a thing. That's a choice. Being an asshole is definitely a choice that one makes. I'm talking about things about you that are true, fears, things that are innate. You know what I'm saying?
Or conditioned, because fear is not something fear is
given to you by other people. You're not born with it.
I'm talking about some of the there's healthy fear, right? You know, when you get scared, when your spidey senses or whatever, okay, that's that healthy fear. I'm talking about that conditioning fear. Don't let that shit go.
Yeah, no, but if you have it, then you have to acknowledge it. You got to come to grips with it, and then you just got to face it. You know what I'm saying? I mean,
right.
And change it so you can start to live instead of exist.
Agreed.
I had a conversation, and then we're gonna get out of here. Dang, this the fast. I ain't gonna have a letter. We ain't do chance fucked up question. I'm gonna fit it in next week. But here's one of the things. I had a conversation with a friend of mine who called me about his wife, and they were having some issues or whatever. And at the end, I listened to him, and I explained to him where the disconnect was. And I said to him, at the end of the day, do you want to be right or do you want to be happy? And at the end of the day, you want to be happy. And every decision that you make, every word that you utter, every step you take, every friend you make, and I'm not trying to rhyme or nothing like that, but everything that you do should move you in the direction of that happiness. And you can't find that happiness. You can't attain that happiness. And you can't maintain and sustain that happiness unless you make some changes. Unless you accept, some things about you and do those things that make that happen and go toward it. And that's all I have to say about that, so to speak. What about y'all? Thumbs up, thumbs down on the book?
No, thumbs up on the book.
Thumbs up on the book.
And
absolutely.
This is the second time you sound like Bobby Brown with every step and every whatever, you're doing your little thing. But I want to be right. I want to be happy. I want to be happy. I want to be happy.
Right.
I want to be happy. I just.
Yeah, I want to be happy. I want to have those things that make my heart smile. And they don't necessarily have to be things, right? You want people around you to make your heart smile. You want,
absolutely.
Actually, I'm gonna tell you, the more cheese you actually seek out, the more you realize that it's really not material things that make you happy. It's just you're an emotional being. The connect, the smile on other people's faces, the shit you can do to help people grow and expose people to shit. Those are the things that make you happy. I'm happier now helping other people do shit, and some of the responses I get from folks and comments and all. You can't buy that shit. You know what I'm saying? Because I ain't got it. I still got the same amount of money. You know what I'm saying?
We're servants at heart. That's who we are. We're here to serve, and we are interdependent. We need one another in order to exist. And when you're able to do that in a peaceful manner, and you get to see that aha moment that person had because of something you share with them, or you get to see that person start to evolve based on something that you inspired them to do, it's a wonderful feeling. It's selfless in a way. You do it because you enjoy it, but it also is kind of selfish too, because you want to feel good.
You get a good feeling back.
Yeah. And I feel good that next week is my birthday. 7 days, 7 whole days to my birthday.
Is it really?
Yes, it is. And you guys need to join us at our new time at 11 o'clock. I don't know if it's going to stay our new time, but it's going to be next week. I don't know what it's going to be about. They keeping the birthday shenanigans a secret to me. So make sure you come back and find out what the heck happens on my birthday, y'all. So On behalf of our producer cousin Chan, our incredible invisible intern number 3, Sporty Spunky Angel, and Uncle Rob Carter, I am your host, Miss Kiki, the consummate provocateur. We'll see you next week. Same bat time, same bat channel. Thank you for tuning in. And don't forget to go get the book.
The book.
Remove my cheese. All right. Talk to you guys later.